One, two, three. Marty, can you imagine a world without music, without art?
No. Nay. Never.
As a late student in life, I've discovered my artistic ability, which I thought I never had, even though I had been creative throughout my life with different projects. I never realized that I could actually produce a painting or a drawing. And this has given me a renewed interest in learning. There's so many different mediums and types of art to explore, and mainly I feel it's just an avenue of creativity and a way for them to express their feelings.
I'm Joe. I'm a member of the class of 2009 at Malvern. I go to Drexel now, studying music business. When I started at Malvern, I played guitar. I started when I was, I don't know, like 6th or 7th grade, just because I thought it was a cool thing to do. And I played a lot of sports when I started. I played football, and that was kind of, what I focused on. And then I took jazz band, and I kept taking jazz band, and then I picked up liturgical music, and then I picked up men's chorus, and then I picked up jazz improv, and I just kept going. And eventually I figured out that music was what I wanted to do forever.
Was raining all day long, the night before we fought, and Saturday was gone, and it was raining all day long. I thought last night would never end, now Saturday.
Why is art and music important to my world? Well, I'm a historian and a teacher, and you can't have history without art, music. It's part of human culture, it's part of who we are as people, and it brings us alive. It's one of the most important facets of living, for real. Imagine a world where you don't have art and you don't have music. It's not worth living.
Yeah, in high school I was the president of our high school Tri-M, and I sang and danced and did musical theater, and I played the piano, and I was very involved in the arts. So in terms of why I think the arts are important to a high school student, and actually for everybody throughout their life, is because human beings desire beauty in their life. Beauty brings us to a place that's beyond the everyday, the routine. And I think the pursuit of beauty is something that's, that's hardwired in human beings.
There's many subject areas are abstract learning, and kids in their high school career often don't see where they're going to use this information. I think ceramics is the next extension of Legos and stuff, but rather than Legos where there's predefined things or train sets where you build predefined structures, I think art allows you to dream big, and you're not confined by someone else's constraints. You bring the form itself to life.
Art allows me to be present. We live in a very busy world, and there's nothing I love more than stopping what I'm doing and just consciously creating something that reflects the way that I'm feeling at that moment. Recently I've been really into photography, and I've been thinking about why photography captivates me so much, and I think what it really is narrowed down to is that I'm able to preserve moments of my life that I find meaningful, beautiful, or noteworthy. It's nice to be able to look back and see what maybe I did that day or last week or last month, and just remember the beauty of the moment.
You know, you don't have to be an artist to appreciate the arts. They have the ability to synthesize many levels of life and material things and transport us to places that we never thought we could get to, and make us appreciate everything around us and within us. In the words of my son, working with clay or any medium does not only teach patience and hone creativity, but gives a deeper sense of thought and meaning. Art has taught me to not just memorize and follow, but to think, assess, and question my experiences.
But the real thing that I think the arts do, and it certainly has done it for me, is that it really increases a person's tolerance. And that is something, I think, unfortunately, in our society today, again, those of you who have had me in class know this, is in really short supply. And I think that's art, because when you're into art, you're subjecting yourself to a lot of different things. I look at a lot of photographs every day, many of which I don't like. But I really appreciate what it took for that photographer to get that picture, to produce that picture. It clearly has meaning for him or her. And as a result, I have a tolerance for it. I appreciate what that person has done. And it also, my other interest in art is also in music. And I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. One of the things I listen to is what's called avant-garde music, which is very arrhythmic. I mean, it's 6 or 7 musicians playing instruments and they don't seem to be doing anything together. It's very difficult to listen to. And indeed, the first time I listened to it, I found it hard to listen to too. But I started listening to it at the same time I was teaching in the city. I was teaching at Ben Franklin High School, Broad and Spring Garden Street. And one day I was sitting in my room, there were no students there, and I had the windows open, and the sounds of the city were pouring in the windows. The sirens of the police cars, the screeching of tires, the people yelling. And I realized that I was listening to avant-garde jazz. You know, I realized that the world of those musicians, the world that they existed in, which was really different from my world, that was the music that they heard. And suddenly that music had a completely different meaning for me. I appreciated it more. I was able to listen to it.
I saw her first and knew that her dark hair would weave.
But in college, I was awakened to the possibilities of bringing the arts to what my career goal was to be an English teacher. And from then on, the arts have been a very important part of my life. Not in performance, which can become obvious if you stay around me much, but from the standpoint of appreciating all facets: music, dance, sculpture, painting. I love it all, and it all connects to make me what I think is a better person than what I was when I was younger. So there it is, and I applaud all of you for having achieved what you have already achieved, and I look forward to watching you get even better. Thanks for your time.
The thing I want to kind of bring home about my experience with art is that it is very personal. It is a gift. It is a gift that you should give back in the capacity of just sharing your vision, sharing your talent, your skill in any way that you can. That's what it's all about, really. It also allows you, it allows me even, to step back from the busyness of the day-to-day. And even though I may not have an opportunity day in and day out to pick up a paintbrush, I may be sitting for a moment watching a tree and just noticing the way the tree is structured, if you will. How it's built, what colors, what shapes make up that tree.
I wanted to say that our class is like any other class in Malvern, something you should take seriously and work hard at. And through doing so, you learn a lot about yourself and who you are as a person. And an art class can turn into the rest of your life if you wanted to. And if you're sitting there thinking that that sounds too good to be true, it's probably because you find your art so rewarding that you don't even regard it as work. And a lot of people down the line will be jealous of the fact that you find what you do to be so rewarding. Personally, since I left Malvern, art has turned into my entire life, and I couldn't be happier about that. It's taught me a lot about who I am, and it's made me the person I am today.
Students, maybe I'll be taking a counselor's perspective on this one, but sometimes we don't always have the words to express how we're feeling. And art gives a lot of students voices, a lot of means of expression. They might not be able to say the words, but they're able to show how they're feeling through their art. They're able to express themselves in ways that words may never do justice.
Well, hi there. I'd like to talk with you today about the world of art. Art's really the ultimate subject because it's the only classroom where one can train their body, mind, and soul all at the same time, with the possible exception of Latin.
Sister Kevin used to run the dances at school, so she got us our first gig at the Friday night dance. We played about 4 songs over and over. She came up and told us we were too loud, but everybody danced, and kids seemed to like us, so I was hooked. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I'm still doing it today. I love the camaraderie and the creative process. Nothing excites me more than being around 4 or 5 people trying to come up with a good song or a great arrangement. And I think the best part of all is that this is something I can do when I'm 80. So there's not too many 80-year-old basketball players. And one other plus is you get to meet a lot of girls. For some reason, girls like musicians. So there's that.
I always joke, not joke, but there's a religious aspect, of course. And I had the 2 quotes I thought of. I think it was St. Francis, it might have been de Sales, who said, "We pray best before beauty," which is more a statement about the arts. And then, of course, our own St. Augustine said, "He or she who sings prays twice."
Well said.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you very much.
Land of saints and scholars.
I don't know, it's just, it feels like we all do something that means a lot to us. And that's, I mean, a lot of people say that, I don't know, at least when I went there, people used to say that Malvern was a sports school. And if you went there, you play football, you play basketball, you play lacrosse, but that's where I learned how, I mean, the people that I met there, the classes that I took there is what taught me to love music the way that I do. So, I mean, it kind of made me into a serious musician. And that's not what they tell you happens, but that's what happened to me. So, that was pretty cool.